Welcome to Library Storytime. Our first story today is Lawrence in the Fall. Oops, I turned too many pages to start the story. It says for Dave. I'm not sure who Dave is, but it's for Dave. When Lawrence saw the chalkboard, he froze. Bring in something you collect to show the class. Everyone in class made plans to show off their impressive collections. I'll bring my playing cards, coins, silk ribbons. I collect combs, my marbles. He's thinking, isn't he? Your turn, his classmates said, but Lawrence had nothing to share. He must not be a collector. Must be related to me. After school, Lawrence ran home in tears, bursting into his den and climbing into bed. He explained the assignment to his papa. I have nothing for show and tell, Lawrence sobbed. Ah, said Papa, I see. I know a place where we might find a collection fit for a special one like you. Wonder what he's thinking about. Fall, yeah. Early the next morning, Papa took Lawrence's paw and led him into the forest. There is no better place to find what you need than the woods, Papa explained. But Lawrence wasn't so sure. The path into the forest only got darker and darker. Until Lawrence walked right into a spider's web. Ick! Lawrence whimpered. Watch where you're going, a small voice said. Hello, spider, Papa called out. May we ask what you collect in this forest? I collect flies in my web to eat. But Lawrence didn't want to eat his collection, so the foxes went deeper into the woods. I don't think a fox likes to eat flies anyway, do you? Lawrence and Papa spotted beautiful rocks that the river had collected on its sandy floor. But the rocks were too hard to reach, so the foxes kept going. As they trotted along, tiny droplets began to fall, wetting Lawrence's fur. The foxes quickened their pace. Before long, a heavy rainfall poured down. Follow me, Lawrence. Papa knew of a cave nearby where they could safely wait out the storm. Lawrence ran after Papa as fast as he could. He's a little ways behind him. But the forest floor was soggy, and Lawrence fell behind until he lost sight of Papa altogether. Uh-oh. What will he do now? Lawrence found himself alone in a clearing. The rain quieted, and in its place came a crisp wind. Papa! Lawrence called out softly, but all he could hear was the wind whispering in the forest. Is anyone there? The trees high before him stirred a reply. Ooh. Hello, Lawrence said a little louder. This time the branches shook and a small colorful leaf drifted down. Lawrence was in awe of the beautiful leaf. Its perfect tips faded from red to orange. Pretty. That is a pretty picture of leaves there. There you are, Papa exclaimed as he rushed into the clearing. Look, Lawrence said with astonishment, forgetting that he had been lost. Let me show you what I can do, Papa. Lawrence led his father to a grove of taller trees, where he took a big breath, tilted his head back, and called out, "Hello up there!" Once again, the tree branches gracefully swayed back and forth, and leaves floated down. Lawrence studied the leaves as he gathered them, yellow ones with rounded edges. Those are oak leaves, Papa explained. Thank you, oak trees, Lawrence called. Because the different trees have different shaped leaves. That's how you can tell. That might have been a good thing to do too. Lawrence went on to collect leaves throughout the forest. He collected leaves from honey locust, a pair of white birches, and an old sycamore. He found shaggy willows, a wild crab apple, and the tallest poplars in the forest. And with a pack full of leaves, the foxes made their way home to prepare Lawrence's collection. Finally, it was time for Lawrence to present. He's going to present his collection at school now. All his classmates listened as he told them about his trip to the woods. Every leaf he showed the class was unique in shape and color. See all the different shapes and colors? And that's how they tell what kind they are. Lawrence let his classmates pick out their favorite leaves. He gave away so many that by the end of the day, he had no leaves left. But Lawrence didn't mind. Look, they look so happy dancing around with the leaves. He knew where they could find a few more. So he wasn't worried at all. There are a lot of leaves out there when they start falling. And that's the end. So Lawrence ended up with a good collection after all, didn't he? All right, Miss Lisa.
All right, so friends, I have several friends here in my studio today, and they all have some pictures that have to do with things about fall or autumn. And so I'm going to give them a little clue, and then they're going to pick a picture and come put it up here. And see if you can figure out what the clue is before they do. So the first one I want to do, something that has to do with fall, is making jack-o'-lanterns. So for which friend down here has something that we make jack-o'-lanterns from? What do we make jack-o'-lanterns from, guys? Look at your pictures. Yeah, come put those up here. That's a sign of fall. You know, in my house, I grew pumpkins for the very first time, and I actually have 4 pumpkins on the vine about ready to be picked. Oh, good idea. Go right up there. So we make jack-o'-lanterns out of those, don't we? All right, the next one I want to talk about is what was the very first thing in the book when the foxes went into the forest, they ran into something that collected flies. What was that? Yes, my friend has it right here.
Listeners.
Yeah. So the spider webs, and you'll notice from this picture that the spider webs all covered with dew. So if you go out first thing in the morning, especially in the fall, you'll be able to see lots of spider webs because the dew has fallen and has clung to the sticky part of the web. All right, another personal favorite of mine for autumn is when there's things that fly south to stay warm. What flies south to stay warm? Yeah, and this picture is sort of hard to see, but there are lots and lots of birds, like geese here in this picture, and they all like to fly south. So do the little warblers and other birds. They all fly south. They don't stay around here in Indiana very much in the winter because it's too cold. All right, another thing. What is it? There's a special juice that we like to drink during the fall time. People like it hot, people like it cold, they like it with cinnamon. Come put it up here. What is it? The answer is apple cider. That's right. So I'm sure a lot of you friends at home have gone to the apple orchard and picked apples and just squeeze those apples and make apple juice and apple cider. I like mine hot, especially with cinnamon in it. All right. Now, the next little riddle is about a big animal who likes to eat and eat and eat all fall, and then they sleep all winter long. What animal are we talking about? That's right, if you guessed a bear, and look at him eating those berries. Those berries come out on the vines right now, and they like to eat that. All right, there's something else. There's a big, tall, like Christmas tree. And the Christmas trees have things on them that are sort of prickly that hide the seeds inside. You guys know what I'm talking about? What is a seed holder for Christmas trees or pine trees? Okay, this is a maple tree seed. You're right. So she got part of the clue right. This is called a key. This is for the maple tree. And some kids like to call them helicopters because if you take one of these off the tree and it will spin like a helicopter. It's really pretty cool. But that picture down there, this one right here, that one is the pine cone. Go ahead and put it up here. The pine cones come off of a pine tree, or like those Christmas trees that you guys buy. And the seeds are actually down inside of those. And when those pine cones fall off the tree, they dry and they open up and the seeds fall out, which is really pretty cool. Okay. Now, we're still missing 2 signs of fall. The next thing I'm thinking about is the first sign. And that's what Miss Kim's book was all about. When we see yellow and red and orange, what turns all those colors in the fall? What did he collect in our book? The leaves, right? Look at that. Wouldn't that be a beautiful drive to drive down and see all those beautiful red leaves? Now, I am not sure what our last clue is. Let me take a look. Oh, who collects a nut? Yes, our acorns are collected by squirrels, and they put those in tree holes and then eat them all winter long so they have something to eat. So all of my friends at home, if you start to see some of this stuff around your neighborhood and in your yard, you'll know that it is fall, or we also call it autumn. And so be watching for these because this is the changing of seasons. All right, I have another book for you, and this one's called The Golden Acorn. Now, we know that squirrels collect acorns, but have you ever seen a golden one?
No.
The golden acorn. So let's see what is going on. Now, if you look at the opening page of this book, I mean, you can sort of see the beaver here, but a turtle and a rabbit, do they belong up in a tree? I really think this is going to be a funny story. And there's the squirrel with his acorn. So this is called The Golden Acorn. All right, here we go. Squirrel loved being the fastest. She could fly through the trees faster than anybody and had the trophy collection to prove it. Look at her house. Look at all those trophies. She was the fastest critter in the trees. Her most prized trophies were from the annual Golden Acorn Hunt. Only the fastest racers could win the Golden Acorn, and Squirrel had taken it home for the last 8 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look, and there's an empty spot right here, and it says new acorn spot. So she's thinking she's going to win this next race. But it says this year is going to be different. How are they going to make this year different? All those competing in tomorrow's Golden Acorn Hunt must do so as part of a team. It's always good to work together as a team, right? But, you know, that squirrel's used to doing it all by herself. Squirrel scoffed, "But I'm the fastest animal in the forest. I don't need a team." "But we would love to be on your team, Squirrel," said Rabbit brightly. So maybe that's why they were up in that tree. You, Squirrel looked at her friends. They really did not seem to like racing material. But Squirrel had no choice. The race was tomorrow. Maybe a little training would do the trick. It's good to train before you run, right? Let's see what's going to happen. But then again, maybe not. Does Rabbit look like she wants to get out on the limb and find the acorn? What about Turtle? What about Beaver? And Squirrel's being the coach. I don't think. It says Squirrel's Treetop Boot Camp. All right, the 60th annual Golden Acorn Hunt. Here's the starting point. The next morning, Squirrel had gathered her team at the starting line. The golden acorn had been hidden, the judge yelled. Ready, get set, go. So the golden acorn's hidden somewhere. Who's going to find it?
I think Squirrel.
Think Squirrel is? Whoosh! Squirrel was off, overtaking all of the other racers, even her own team. Squirrel, wait! Her friends called out. We've lost Tortoise. Uh-oh, look where the turtle went. Ugh, said Tortoise. Ugh, Tortoise, huffed the squirrel, pacing back. The squirrel's going to have to come back and rescue her friend. That's not going to make her happy, is it? She wants to find that golden acorn. Squirrel grabbed Tortoise and plopped him back up on the branch, and then took off again. But not for long. Squirrel, wait! Her friends called out once more. We're all tangled up. Look at them. They are all tangled in those leaves. Squirrel untangled her friends and was off yet again for about 10 seconds. You can't be serious, moaned Squirrel. Squirrel, wait, 'cause Beaver is stuck. Look at him. Oh, come on, Squirrel groaned. Poor Beaver tried to go through the hole. Once Beaver's bottom was pushed free, Squirrel was off as fast as her feet would carry her. So fast that she didn't even hear her friends calling to her. Oh no, where are all the friends? There's Rabbit. Where's the others? Over logs and under branches, inside trunks and above treetops, Squirrel raced as fast as she could to find that golden acorn until... There it is. There it was. Oh, she's going to find it. It was the biggest golden acorn Squirrel had ever seen. She pried it from her hiding spot and then took off. That is a big acorn. It's as big as she is, isn't it? But the golden acorn was too heavy to carry alone. Who should she have with her?
A team.
Her team, right? And there was only one squirrel all by herself, Squirrel and her golden prize. After lots and lots of rolling and pushing and heaving, Squirrel took a little rest. She was so tired and sweaty and lonely. And as Squirrel looked out upon all the other racers, excuse me, still searching for the acorn, she realized that she had lost her friends. The golden acorn would just have to wait. Whoosh! Off went Squirrel. She raced faster than she had ever gone before, over logs and under branches, inside trunks and above treetops until... Where's she going so fast? Yeah, where's she going? There they were. Look at her friends. After lots and lots of rolling and pushing and heaving, Squirrel had her friends back. Her team didn't come in first, and they did not get a trophy, but it did not matter. Look who found the acorn and brought it back to the finish line. Do you know what those little critters are?
What?
Chipmunks? I think the chipmunks won this year. From now on, Squirrel's friends would always come first. That's a very important lesson, right? Mm-hmm. Your friends should come first. Yep. Now they're doing things together. I like that story. That was called The Golden Acorn. All right, Miss Kim?
All right, Squirrel and the team, we're looking for that golden acorn. Now we have Froggy. Froggy picks a pumpkin. He looks for the pumpkin. This is the time of year soon. Everybody will be looking for the perfect pumpkin to use. For whatever reason. There they are. They're taking a class trip to the pumpkin fields to see what they can find. Pages stick together. Don't forget, trip to the pumpkin patch tomorrow. Pumpkin picking contest. Next morning, Froggy woke up and looked out the window. A beautiful pumpkin moon was setting, and colorful leaves were falling. Leaves, leaves, cried Froggy. I want to go out and play in the... Oops! And he fell out of bed. Thump. Silly Froggy. Froggy, called his mother. What? Stop jumping off the bed, dear. Today is your field trip. Oh, yeah, cried Froggy. It's time to pick a pumpkin. And he hopped up and got dressed. Zip, zoop, zip, zut, 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 zat. Okay, there we go. Put on his underpants, put on his socks, shorts, shoes, shirt, and his hat. All set to go to the pumpkin patch. And he flopped into the kitchen, flop, 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 singing. Pumpkins, pumpkins, muffins, and pie, pumpkin faces lighting the sky. He ate his breakfast of cereal and flies, munch, crunch, munch, and imagined a steaming pumpkin pie, yum, and a whole line of jack-o'-lanterns outside lighting the night sky. Look at all those pumpkins in his imagination. On the school bus, Froggy bounced in his seat, boing, 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 and led all his friends singing, pumpkins, pumpkins, muffins, and pie, pumpkin faces lighting the sky. I never heard that song, have you? I have no idea how that's supposed to sound. When they got to the pumpkin patch, he jumped off the bus, flop, 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 and sang, I'm going to pick a pumpkin, I'm going to pick a pumpkin. Froggy, called his teacher, Miss Witherspoon. What? Wait, dear, we're going to have a pumpkin picking contest for the biggest, smallest, prettiest, ugliest, and best all-around pumpkin. That sounds like fun, doesn't it?
What is the ugly one?
Well, I don't know. I don't think they're showing us that yet. I think we'll find out it before the story ends. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. Yippee! Cried Froggy, and he took off again. Flop, 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 and tripped over a pumpkin. Flew through the air and knocked into another pumpkin. Boink! Max bounced over 3 small pumpkins and tried to pick up a huge one. It didn't budge. Ugh. Some of those pumpkins can get quite large. Travis said, step aside, and lifted it up. He must be strong, huh? Matthew zigzagged around Max, Travis, and Froggy and picked up the prettiest pumpkin in the world. It was shiny and perfect and just the right size. So there's Max with his prettiest one. At least he thinks it is. Frogalina twirled and danced through the pumpkin patch, then squatted down and said, hello, my sweetie, and picked up a very small, very dark orange pumpkin and kissed it. Smooch! Froggy hopped up on a gigantic pumpkin and looked all around like a pirate on the bow of a ship and shouted, "Ahoy there!" And he leapfrogged over Frogolina. He leapfrogged over Max. He leapfrogged over Matthew, flop, flop, splat, and fell smack across a really big pumpkin. I think Froggy's a little bit clumsy, don't you? He stood up and said, "This is the one," and he tried to pick it up. He got it up to his knees, huff. He got it up his chest, yes. Then he trudged along with his huge pumpkin. Ugh, ugh, ugh. "Froggy," called Miss Witherspoon. "What? You're going the wrong way." "Oops," said Froggy, and started huffing. Oh my, Froggy's clumsy and he doesn't know his directions, does he? Max yelled, "Last one in is a rotten egg." Everybody else ran with their pumpkins, and Travis rolled his big one, rumble, rumble, rumble. And when Froggy finally got there, he was too pooped to pop and tripped and smashed his pumpkin. Smoosh. Oh, now I feel sorry for him, don't you? "Oops," cried Froggy, looking more red in the face than green. You can see his face turned red. Poor Froggy. Everybody laughed, even Mrs. Witherspoon. And then she said, "And now for the winners of the pumpkin picking contest. For biggest, Travis. For smallest, Max." Max lifted his hat, and there on top of his head was a pumpkin the size of a golf ball. I didn't know they could be one that small. Yeah. For prettiest, Matthew, and for best all around, Frogolina. "Here is a pie pumpkin, great for baking." Frogolina said, "Hello, my sweet," and kissed it again. Smooch. Then Miss Witherspoon said, "And for the ugliest, yours, Froggy. What a mess!" And everybody cheered, "Hip, hip, hooray!" Even Froggy. His was the messiest and the ugliest all together. Froggy had quite a time, didn't he? And on the bus ride home, Froggy sang, guess what? "Pumpkins, pumpkins, muffins and pie, pumpkin faces lighting the sky." And all of his friends sang with him. Sounds like, I'm sorry.
Where did you get that pumpkin?
Maybe somebody shared one with him. Wouldn't that have been a nice thing to do?
Maybe he got two.
Yeah, or maybe the teacher finally let him go back and get one. They didn't tell us that, but anyway. So that's how Froggy picked the pumpkin. Poor little clumsy Froggy. All right. Well, picking pumpkins are lots of fun. Now I can think of other kinds of pumpkins like bumpy, and some are smooth and some are bumpy, and some are kind of grow sideways and have awkward looking shapes and stuff. So there's all kinds of fun shapes you can see in a pumpkin patch.
Yesterday I got a big pumpkin. It was heavy. I told my dad I need help.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right. Well, we had some good stories today. We hope you have a happy fall. But for now, we have to let everybody know that it's the end of story time for today. So, goodbye.
Bye.